we are running around 15 minutes behind, so I do apologise for that in advance. But I think it's equally important that all of the speakers and the panellists we have after this do have important things to discuss and say, so we will give them their allocated time. So we will be running and finishing around about 12-15 minutes behind schedule. Our next solo speaker that I'm proud to introduce is Audrey Cynthia Yamayako, who is basically coordinating the African Green Finance Facilities Fund at the African Development Bank. She uses her international experience in the banking sector, financial services, as well as in the environmental and climate finance to develop an innovative mechanism for unlocking participation of the private sector in the support of low carbon, climate resistant and sustainable development in Africa. So please will you join me in welcoming Audrey Cynthia onto the stage to present on how the green finance facilities ecosystem is a $3 trillion investment opportunity for Africa. Audrey Cynthia.
Thank you very much. I know it's already late in the afternoon, you have a lot of meetings, but I'm very delighted to be here today because what I wanted to show you as an investor is how green investment are an opportunity, what are this funding, this need to implement NDC, what we can shift the paradigm and see it as a business opportunity. So let's start with, to bring a little bit of context, Africa is the continent which is the most vulnerable to climate change, and this is also the continent who funnel the less amount of climate finance around the globe. So only 5%, less than 5% of the global climate finance went to Africa in 2021. So we are looking how to change this paradigm when we know so that the needs to implement NDCs in 51 countries of Africa amount $3 trillion USD by 2030. So we need to dramatically scale up the climate finance, environmental finance, the Africa, the continent, can use and can have to implement these NDCs. How do we turn it as an investment opportunities? First, we need to bring this climate and environmental finance at a local level because we know that this is the country has its proper needs, its sector of needs, let's say in renewable energy, smart agriculture. So we need to bring these resources as close as possible to the project developer and also to support the national determined contribution implementation. How do we do that? So how we can bring this, how we can leverage more climate finance? So by using this blended finance. So what is blended finance? Is the use of a small amount of capital to leverage more private financing. So we use public finance to de-risk the transaction, and it allowed the private sector to step into the transaction and get the return on investment they are looking for. So who can do that? So who can do that? It's local financial intermediaries or government who decide to create their own national financial institution who will invest in sustainable projects. Why? Because financial intermediaries, they are local. They know very well their market, they know their customers, they know what are the risks they should cover. They also have the capacity by being close to the project owner to help them better structure the project to make it more bankable. They have the capacity to develop a pipeline of investment grade projects. They also are the best actor by using blended finance instruments to leverage public and to bring private investors at the table for sustainable projects. So local financial intermediaries are the key actor we need in the climate finance architecture. They are now missing in this global architecture, and we are now trying to bring them at the table. So this is not new. We call it the Green Bank mechanism. Actually, this Green Bank model has shown already a very big success in the world. The first Green Bank was in UK, and we have a lot of Green Bank in the US as well. So in 2020, the Green Bank network bring 70 billion USD in terms of investment. So it's a quite, let's say, powerful mechanism. And this is the solution to turn this 3 trillion USD needs as an opportunity or investment opportunities. So what is the Green Bank? This is a specialized financial institution which can scale up domestic needs to invest in sustainable projects. So AFDB, the African Development Bank, sees the climate finance issue as the biggest impediment to support a sustainable growth in Africa. So what we have developed, what we are developing is the African Green Bank initiatives. Yes, sorry. So at COP26, we launched a report showing the potential of the Green Bank mechanism in Africa. We evaluated it in 6 countries in partnership with the Climate Investment Fund, and we showed that this model can really benefit to Africa and help implement NDCs and sustainable development goals. At COP27, we plan to launch the initiatives, the Africa Green Banks initiatives. And the objective of this initiative is to create an ecosystem of local green financial facilities around the continent. So this initiative will cover the biggest hurdle we have identified. First, the financial institution, the local financial institution, are really risk averse in terms of investment, but more importantly in terms of investing in green and sustainable projects, because they don't know what is green, what is sustainable, how do you originate a type of transaction, how do you identify what is green, how to mainstream green in transaction, in a traditional transaction. Those are kind of aspects which are a little bit, it's not complicated, but most of this capacity is not really well spread among the financial sector. So this is an important hurdle. So we need to change the paradigm and to make them less risk averse in this type of transaction. We need as well to build their capacity. How do you structure a sustainable project? How you make it bankable? And how do you de-risk it? How you evaluate as well the risk embedded in the climate environmental issue, because we need as well to factor your exposition to the risk of climate and environmental. And also we need them to understand how you report on the impact on the ground for those projects. It's really important to design and shape the strategy we have in this sector. So there is also this hurdle: how do you mobilize resources for climate and environmental finance investment? How you bring private sector to the table, and also how to bring more, to have bigger envelope of funding available. So by doing that we will show to financial institutions that they can actually mobilize resources on a domestic level through bonds, sustainable emission, for example, designing some tax or some regulation which will bring some capital for dedicated to invest in sustainable projects. So there is many ways to bring more capital, to leverage capital on the domestic market, but also externally through vehicles like the Climate Investment Fund, Green Climate Fund, Global Environmental Facilities. So there are many mechanisms available. There are also many envelope of resources available. So we need to help them to understand how they can mobilize more resources. And we need as well, another hurdle is to provide the de-risking instruments like guarantee, like project preparation grant on transaction where the commercial banks doesn't have the proper instrument to scale up or de-risk the transaction. So this initiative really is, let's say, efficient, focus on being efficient and provide what is needed on this specific context. So this initiative will be launched at COP27. We are working with a pipeline of commercial banks in 3 countries, but this is just the pilot phase. We want to show with partners how it will work and how it's really critical and how we can mobilize how we can leverage more fundings, and how powerful is this mechanism, and especially for Africa. We launched this initiative at COP27, and we hope to operationalize a dedicated vehicle, which is called the AGFFF. This vehicle will be a trust fund, which will provide different elements to support these initiatives. So this trust fund will be hosted at the African Development Bank. It will benefit from the ecosystem of the banks, the different envelope of funding available. We will work with the financial institution. We have quite a long experience working with country as well, supporting the country to have their local green financial facility. We will have two windows in this AGFFF, in this trust fund. We'll have the early stage windows. These early stage windows will provide to government, but also local commercial banks or financial institutions. It can also be a microfinance institution, for example. We will bring them the technical assistance and also the initial capitalization for their green envelope. So this is the early stage windows, and there is the other windows, which is the scale-up and co-financing windows, where we will provide the de-risking instrument to the project recipient, but by co-financing with the banks, with the local green banks. Just to give you a little bit of more understanding of what will be provided on the technical assistance side. So this is on the early stage window. So we will provide through consultancy services or grant or reimbursable grants let's say we will help in setting up the green financial facility. We will also work with the local commercial banks or government to build a strong pipeline of bankable projects, sustainable projects. We'll help to we will bring the capacity, we'll build the governance and the institutional capacity in terms of sustainable investment, and we will also help them in designing the capitalization roadmap to help them in the next phases, which will be to capitalize the envelope of fundings. So on the second envelope, which is the co-investment envelope windows or co-financing windows, what we are doing here is really a blended finance approach. We will have different type of resources available within the AGFFF, so we'll be able to tap in depending on the program, depending on the needs of the country, or focusing on a specific transaction. We'll bring the additionality. Let's say we can bring the de-risking instrument. We can provide, for example, a project preparation grant when it's needed for a new technology. We can also provide a cross-currency swap when we are investing in local currency, and the funding is provided in USD or European or Euro. What the objective is really to cover and to address the market failure, and by still minimizing the risk of disrupting the market and we don't want to create any distortion of the market, but we will be catalytic. So we will provide the financial instrument which will help this transaction to happen. And we will only work by co-investing with the local green banks, because they are the one who has the ownership, and we wanted to have something more sustainable. That's why this is why we are just providing what is needed and on the case-by-case basis. So the IFDB is now starting his resource mobilization for the AGFFF, for the trust fund, and we hope that by end of next year we'll reach an initial capitalization of 100 million. For the first, to start operationalizing the AGFFF, then we are looking for first 2 contributors, minimum by contributor of 3 million USD, and to launch the vehicle. And by end of next year, we hope to have reached the target of 100 million. So this is a unique vehicle, a unique blended finance vehicle. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's really regional, and we definitely think that is the solution to bring more climate finance, environmental finance to the continent, and also to provide it in a more sustainable way, because we incapacitate local financial intermediaries to do that and to support climate action in the long term. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope I didn't use too many acronyms, I'm looking for having some questions and bring more clarification. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right, our next speaker, or speakers, I believe, is there two, or just one speaker?